Yes, absolutely. I'm 47 years old. I am married, have two kids, and yeah, born with my disability. Back in 1970, and I was in that beginning. I was, you can say in Denmark, put a little bit aside. I went to school and a home only for people with disabilities, and grew up there. I was home at my parents, but normally they have an impression at that time that in the normal world and in Denmark, that if you are look like me with a disability, you have also something wrong in your head. So I was starting there, and then I started the school classes, and my parents found out that I didn't learn so much. So I will put a little bit back compared with able-bodied persons at my age. So they said we need to do something, and we find a school, a public school for you can say able-bodied people. And I went there on a test period because you know, many people are looking at you, and look at that small guy, look at him, he has no arms, he has no fingers on his hand, and so on. And I was, you can say, it was the feeling was tough for me at that time. So, but I went to that test, and after this test I started in that school, and that was my first, you can say, barrier I came over as a person with a disability. And then I became too fat because I was playing football with my fellows at the school and also at the street, and but my legs could not take that pressure for playing football. So I was in a wheelchair for 8 weeks, and I became too fat. So I went to my doctor, and he said, if you are not doing any sport, you will have to sit in your wheelchair the rest of your life. And that was the kick he gave me. So I went home and said, I have to do some sport. And I found out in a city very close to where I lived that there was a club for people with a disability doing different kind of sports. So I started swimming, and very fast I was showing that I was good at it. So first I became Nordic champion, and then I was competing in 1984. And then it was 5-time Paralympian, 6 gold and 15 medals in total. So the aspiration for me, it's like a sportsman. It's also that I am born with my disability. I have shown that I can overcome different barriers. I can handle discrimination, and I know how it is to be a person with a disability. But I also know how it's feel when you are doing sport, and all the recognition and awareness and so on. And now we are in London. It's amazing. The 2012 Paralympic Games, but also now at the World Para-Athletics Championships. So I think I can bring that in from my perspective, but also that I have been a businessman before, because together with my swimming and my training, I was educated as a state authorized public accountant, and have worked for over 20 years at KPMG and Ernst & Young in total. Was going up to a level as the director at Ernst & Young. But then due to some restructuring, I found out to build my own company in the beginning of 2014, and we started 6 persons there, and after 3 years we went over 40 people. And to commit myself to the presidency of IPC, I sold my company. So I am only myself in a little company in Denmark now. So yeah, I know how to create. I'm an entrepreneur doing things, and I really like to do that. So I have also the business aspect into it, and the sports person, and then you can say me as a person. And my kids are doing sport on a high level. My son is 20 years, he's playing football, and my daughter is 16, she's a swimmer like her father. And I found my wife, we have been married for 22 years, I found my wife in the swimming pool, because where should I else find a girl who likes to train as much as I did as a Paralympian. So you can say that's from my perspective, that's my qualification to go into the presidency. And then besides this, I have been Paralympic leader for many years. After my swimming career, I was elected immediately after I went up off the pool in Sydney in 2000 as a board member of the Danish National Paralympic Committee. After 5 years, I was elected vice president, and I'm still vice president of the National Paralympic Committee of Denmark. And then in 2009, I was elected president of the European Paralympic Committee, and have just stepped down just to commit myself to be in a position as president of IPC. And in 2013, I was elected as a IPC Governing Board member there. So, 17 years as a Paralympic politician and Paralympic leader. So that's the reason I'm sitting here and standing for the IPC presidency. The most remarkable is the increase in athletes amounts and sports at the Paralympic Games. Going back to 1960 in Rome, I think there were 400 athletes at that time, and now we saw in Rio 4,350 from amazing number of nations, and I think that's the awareness. You can say raising on, and also the spread of the Paralympic sport into the entire world. And for me, that's the most impressive we have done, is to increase the athletes' participation and the number of nations participate in the games, and it's also creating social awareness around the entire world. And it's better to also for the inclusion of people with a disability into the society. So, and that's also, you can say, the aspiration of the Paralympic movement is to make a more inclusive society through Paralympic sport. Yeah, but my first thing, as I almost said, is to get in contact with IOC and to bring that relation back to a good relation, and then on a long term, we also need to look at the governing structure, because we have a different governing structure, meaning that we have some sports. We are also, the IPC is the governing body of 10 sports. And we have 15 sports members of the IPC, and they are governing by different organizations, different sports organizations. So, in my point of view, we need to look at that structure, and to further develop this, meaning that we cannot do IPC sports independent by just a click. We need to have them financially sustainable, and we need to have a setup of them for creating activities for them, so they still is on a high level, and creating opportunities also for the mainstream sport in those sports. So I think it's on the long term we need to build on this, and so I think that's the most important issues. Because I have to drive to continue the great work as Sir Philip Craven has done for the last 16 years. He has done an incredible work, but I have to drive. I'm a person with a disability. I'm a sportsman. I have competed in 5 Paralympic Games. I have been in the movement for 35 years. I'm a businessman. I'm used to negotiate also with big companies. And by the way, awareness raising is one thing, and then the outcome of this is sponsorship. Is also to make new sponsorship, like the Toyota sponsorship we had. And I can bring new resource, a new revenue income stream into this, together with IPC and the management team and all the consultants we have around it. And so the business aspect is also very important. And then I think myself as a good leader. I have the skills, I have the experience. I have shown a lot of results during my presidency of IPC, where I've made a lot of good relation with the EU, and the EU is an institutional where we also have to be there. We have and we have made in the European Paralympic Committee a voice and a brand and an image of the Paralympic movement in the European Union, and so I have the experience in this one, and I will not forget anybody. It's very important. This is an umbrella organization, so it's not only you can say certain NPC, certain sport. We need them all, and we need them all to be unified and work together to the benefit for the athletes and for the sport.